collecting dust under there right now. Yeah. We're live? Going live? And we're live. What's going on, D-Bags? Hope you guys are doing well. We're back with another episode of the dtalks podcast. I'm your host, Darren, Rita. Feel free to connect with me at any of the links down below. And if you're new here, you enjoy music, podcasts, comedy, hooping videos, any of that good stuff, do consider subscribing because we got a whole lot of that going on around here. And when you do subscribe, it helps us share conversations and videos like this with more people. So consider doing that. It really helps us out. Now, I've got a great guest here to reintroduce you guys to this week. But before we get to that, I got to talk to you guys a little bit about car insurance. These days, it seems as if we're able to do more and more from home. So while you're at home, why aren't you saving money in your car insurance? Your hometown agency, Kenosha Auto Insurance, is specialized for years, literal years, in simple, hassle-free car insurance using the latest in touch-free technology to help you and your family get the best rate. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call today at 262-448-4141. That's 262-448-4141. It's on the screen right now. It's linked down below. Give them a call. Tell them Rita dtalks sent you. The worst that could happen is you will get the best rates. Now, all that good stuff out of the way, we're going to be welcoming back writer, journalist, and coach Dan Truttschel back to the podcast. So give him a wet dtalks welcome, everybody. Hey. Dan, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Darren.
I appreciate you coming straight from practice.
Yep,
to be
right
here
off the
today.
ball, Diamond.
Crazy. And how many years now is this coaching?
This is my 21st overall.
21st.
My
That's crazy.
6th at Tremper, my 4th as the head coach. 4th if you count COVID. I was 0-0 during COVID, so we didn't lose a game.
That's fair. Yeah, undefeated.
It was a perfect season.
Yeah, that's great actually.
But yeah, I started coaching in 2002, so I was 21.
Wow. When do you ever see a world where you wouldn't coach?
It's coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's coming. Some changes have happened in my life.
Yeah.
And coaching takes a lot out of people don't understand what goes behind the scenes of being a head coach, especially.
Yeah.
So it's coming. I'm at the lower end of my time as a coach, I think. Maybe as an assistant, I'll come back at some point, but that day's coming.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
That's fair, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, 20-some years, that's a run. You know?
I've given a lot of time.
What that since you've been coaching, and especially softball right now, what is coaching softball like in Wisconsin with the
brutal
weather?
It
was snowing 2 days ago.
This is not spring weather or softball weather. It is spring weather. We were actually talking about last year because of COVID, they moved our season a month later. We had the best weather we had in 20 years at the time, 20 years as a coach. We had one rainout.
I was going to say probably a lot less cancellations.
One rainout. We had beautiful weather. Now we played on Friday against Wilmot, my former school, and kudos to them. They can hit a lot.
That's fair.
And so they beat us, but so we got a game in. But I think when we left the field at the end of the game, it was in the 30s, which is not softball weather. It's not conducive for kids showing off what they can do. It's not healthy. It's not good. But we have to play it in the spring. That's how we do it. So we just keep forcing it in. I think next week it's supposed to get better.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'd be nice to get 70s. I think or 60s would be great.
I'm curious, how does it work? Because I never played like baseball or softball, so I never had to deal with like the spring rainouts all that much in high school. What is like the course of action when they do get like the rainouts? Is it like, oh, we're going to reschedule this?
You try, but there's a drop dead day too. There's May 19th is the last week of the regular season, and the tournament series starts the week after.
So you have to have made up all
you got to have them in or you lose them, and it's not unusual to have seasons where we had one season when I coached at Williams Bay when a team from Hurley, which is way up north, had like 14 games, and they went to the state tournament. Then they played 14 or 15 games because they had a foot of snow on the ground for weeks and weeks and weeks.
How does that work? From like let's say like we get a rain out and then like our school's like, okay, we can do these 3 dates, and you're like, oh, we can't do those.
If it's non-conference, you cancel it. Okay. Conference, you have to get in. So the conference games have to be played.
So what, like, let's say if one of the teams in that conference was like, well, we just can't, like, we can't swing that we have this other thing going on, whatever. Would it be like they forfeit?
That'd be up to the conference commissioner, but
interesting.
You just start scrapping your non-conference games.
Yeah.
That's why we're playing Union Grove this week, and the last 2 years we've been canceled. Well, COVID canceled it, but last year we got canceled. So their AD reached out to me, said, can we play a little earlier so we can get these in? Because we always schedule them later, and that's when we get a little bit later, there's no room. There's no no places to put the games. You run out of days. Yeah. You just run out of days. So you just have to hope for good weather,
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about that because, I mean, I guess there's a little bit less it's not quite as bad or unpredictable in the fall.
Right.
Like fall
they're going to play.
Yeah, we know what we're going into. With spring, it's like you have no idea.
When you play basketball, we had the occasional snow day here and there, but for the most part, your 20-some games are on the schedule. That's when you played them.
Yeah.
I tell parents every spring, I said, this schedule I'm giving you is in pencil. keep it in pencil because it's going to change.
Yeah.
My schedule for the JV team changed 3 times today for tomorrow. The bus is.
Really?
I had to send out 3 different notices because I have a big email string for everybody in the program, JV, varsity, parents, kids. And the bus time changed like 3 times for tomorrow. And so I said, again, this is why we are being very flexible because there's a busing shortage right now. It's really bad.
Yeah,
and
I never even thought about. I guess I never really.
There's a lot of moving
considered
parts.
it. Yeah, and that's like even as a player too. Like
Yep.
I could imagine that being somewhat frustrating, not really knowing when.
Yeah, you don't know. I told the girls tonight. I said, I think we're gonna play we have 6 games this week. This is how spring goes. You're gonna play 6 times in a week.
Jesus.
And so I said,
That's awesome.
I think we're gonna play. Tomorrow's gonna be cold. It's supposed to warm up a little bit. We have artificial turf, which is nice.
That is
so
cool.
that we are able to get some games in. Our JV field looks like a lake right now. You could go fishing there.
There you
So
go.
they're going to play their JV game tomorrow at the school we're playing tomorrow is Indian Trail. They're going to play their game at Indian Trail on the varsity field because they have turf. So you just do the best you can. It's just everything's written in pencil. You're just flexible and
Just gotta kind of fly with it.
yeah,
at the time.
bring the long johns and go.
If you're playing 6 games in a week, I don't know how it works in softball. I know like within men's and baseball, like pitchers,
Pitching limits, yeah.
There's limits and things like that. How does it work with
There's
softball?
no limits in softball. But we're gonna run a couple different girls out there because that's too much to ask.
I was gonna say
one
yeah.
kid.
I wasn't sure like because I know it's a different motion.
different.
But if it would be less strenuous on the.
It's less on the arm, it's more on the legs because they're
Okay.
driving with the legs. But it's more of a natural motion with the arm. But I'm not going to ask my number 1 pitcher to throw 6 games.
6
I talked
days in a
to her
row.
tonight. I said we have a game tomorrow. She's going to pitch that one. Wednesday's non-conference. We'll play with that. We have a young freshman we want to see who looks pretty promising, so we'll throw her out there and let her get her feet wet a little bit in a non-conference game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes a toll. Pitching that many days in a row.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Having to kind of balance all
6
that.
game
too.
weeks, man.
That's nuts. And I mean, you mentioned at the beginning too that this has been 21 years,
Yeah.
right, of you coaching, and you're getting around towards the end. You can see it; it's in sight. What are some like maybe some highs and lows of coaching so far?
Well, the ultimate high was I was part of a state championship team in 07 at Williams Bay. We won the Division IV state title. I was assistant coach for that team. 24-2 state champions, won it on the Goodman Diamond in Madison. Bottom of the 7th, kid hits a base hit down the left field line, other kid scores the winning
Damn.
run, breaks a tie, state champs. I mean, that girl who scored the game-winning run, I'm going to her wedding in about a month. So
Wow.
that's pretty cool.
That goes
Yeah,
full circle.
Yeah,
That's
she was
super
a
cool.
sophomore at the time. So that was a huge, huge highlight. But, in a general sense, the relationships you make. I mean, how many years was it ago when you played when I coached you? I mean, it's been a while and we're still connected, still friends, still get to see each other. That's the fun part for me.
Yeah.
Relationships with former players, coaches, referees, even officials. Those are fun.
If you had to sell coaching as a job, or it's not even as a job, it's just something to do. Like if someone was like, I'm kind of on the fence thinking about it, what would you tell them?
I tell them it's a chance to give back. It's a chance to help kids. It's a chance to keep that competitive spirit. Like if you're a competitor like I am, it gives you a chance to game plan and try to outthink the other coach.
Figure out how you're going to schedule 6 games in a week.
Schedule 6 games in a week.
Yeah.
Figure out how Coach Urbantraut has all these different names for drills that I don't know what they are and I'm supposed to know them. He kept coming up with all these weird names.
He's variables.
Yeah,
different
like
variables.
South Dakota State drill coach. What is that? I don't know what that is. But it's the relationships that you form that are great. The lows are the tough parts are dealing with some of the political parts.
Yeah.
Dealing with as a head coach, dealing with all the moving pieces we just talked about can be really frustrating. Telling a kid they're cut, that's terrible. I've had to do that a few times. Tough losses that stick with you forever and ever, like last second losses.
Yeah.
Things when you screwed up as a coach, because coaches are human, So those are the tough parts. The long bus rides. When I coached at Williams Bay, our closest conference game was an hour and 30 minutes away. Our closest one.
Gross. Yeah, that's
on a
terrible.
school bus. I mean, come on, that was awful, But, I got, along the way, I got to coach at Bigfoot, coached with Rodney Weddig, who just got inducted into the Football Coaches Hall of Fame, legend.
Wow.
Jeff Kiespert brought me into coaching at Williams Bay. Get to go to Wilmot and coach with Jake. Jake was a guy, Coach Urbantraut, that I wrote about when he was in high school. He was a starter on the basketball team. I was the sports editor in Lake Geneva. He started on their state tournament team. I mean, talk about coming full circle.
That's wild.
He was my boss. I was working for him and helping him out. So all those, so many memories, so many great memories. The great outweigh the bad. I'm not going to lie, there's some tough parts dealing with parents that don't want to hear the truth sometimes.
I can imagine.
Your child is not going to go to, North Carolina. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sometimes reality hits them in the face and they don't like to hear that. the second guessing. Softball opens itself up for second guessing all the time. Why'd you steal there? Why'd you bunt there? Why do you know? All the time. You hear it all the time. So those are the hard parts, but way outweighs it. I've got a wall in my man cave of pictures. You're in those pictures. Kids I've coached for years and years are on my wall, and I get to look at them every once in a while, and they make me smile. So all good.
That's really cool. It's interesting to hear. I've had a few coaches now on the podcast, and it's always cool to hear like why.
It's a passion, you know, and coach is coach. Like we're going to be playing a softball game on Saturday against a guy who retired at Tremper. I took over for him, and now he's coaching at St. Joe's. He's in his 70s. He's been coaching forever.
Jeez.
It's just in his blood. It's just something to do, you know. Yeah. There's a couple other guys I know that have stepped down, and they're going to be back. They're stepped down because their children are younger. They want to be with them, which is totally understandable. And then when they get a little bit older, they're coach. Coach is coach.
Yeah.
If I step down or if I leave, I'll probably sneak back somewhere as an assistant. I'd like to just hit a bucket of balls. Give me a bucket of balls and a bat.
Yeah.
I don't want to make any decisions anymore. Just
That's
tell me what you want me to do.
Yeah.
Like when I worked with Coach Urbantraut, what do you want me to do, Coach? You want me to beat up the post with the pads today? Okay, cool. Let's do that.
Still be around.
Yeah. But they can handle all the decisions. Just tell me what you want me to do.
Yeah. See, it's weird. It's interesting too. I think the thing that like fascinates me about coaches like yourself, or just when I sit down and talk with coaches, is that like there is that like just drive for the coaching aspect of it.
The teaching part.
And it's like I feel like even as a player, like I played college sports, and I've not really wanted to coach. It's a weird thing, but I know guys that like there's just certain dudes that like really, really want to.
Right.
Even when you're playing with them, and you can like see it like, okay, they could be a good coach.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I mean, I was an assistant for so long, and I thought I only wanted to be a head coach, and I really wanted it. And then I didn't get a couple head coaching jobs, and then I left Wilmot and came over to Tremper, and now that I'm a head coach, I kind of want to be an assistant coach again. There's some days when they just like today was fun. I got to hit a little bit, but I don't always get to do that stuff. Like I have to delegate it because I have too many other things to do. Yeah. And I'd rather just I'm working with the outfielders this year, which is great. That's my thing. And I get to throw drills to them every day and hit bombs. To get the bat, I steal it. It's a running joke at practice. The girls all bring their bats in their bags, and I just randomly grab a bat out of a bag and I go and hit. I don't even know which kid's bat I have. Yeah. Sometimes some kids don't like that. That's a new bat. You can't, but I love hitting bombs.
Baseball and softball players are weird with their bats,
but they're expensive. So I understand.
I know. I just not having a lot of money when I was growing up playing baseball and like little leagues and stuff. Like I never played in high school, but like playing up until then. I never had a bat. Like I had like one bat, and I think it was like later on when like 6th or 7th grade. And yeah, man, kids are weird with bats. Yeah. They won't share.
Nope.
Like, I'd be like, okay, well, I have to go up and hit now. So
I have a bat, please.
Yeah, and the coach's son, and then I feel bad. Like my coaches, whoever the coach was in little league, he's like forcing his son to give up his bat, and now this kid's like crying. He's my teammate, like my friend,
right?
And I'm like, sorry, I have to go up and bat right now.
Right.
It's weird.
We used to when I started coaching, we supplied the bats, so we had a big bag of bats. But you don't do that anymore. Kids show up with very expensive bats. Yeah, they're very expensive.
Yeah, everything. All the little stuff. That's crazy to me. Now, aside from coaching, you have also been writing. You've been a journalist for quite a while.
Yeah, 26 years.
Even longer than coaching, right? And you were writing on and off for the Kenosha News.
Yep.
And you've just stepped away.
Yep.
And now you're with Kenosha.com.
Yep.
It's writing. Crazy. So it was like, what was it, like 2 weeks of I'm not writing anymore, and now I'm back.
I was full time at the Kenosha News for about 5 years. Well, part time at the start, and then I got laid off and a budget cut, and then I got brought back, and I was full time for the last few years. And I just started. Well, today was my first full day as the communications director with the American Heart Association in Milwaukee. So I haven't even done any communication. I'm still doing training. I'm still trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. It's going to be quite a transition. Yeah. But I've been looking for a while. Print journalism scares me, and I needed to find something more stable for the rest of my working life. I still have some years left to work before Uncle Sam will take care of me, or other things will hopefully take care of me. So yeah, I've been looking for a while, and this job with the AHA came up, and it's a perfect fit. Now I just have to go out and do it. But Kenosha.com is full of a bunch of former colleagues of mine from the Kenosha News, a bunch of them. There's probably like 10 of them.
Really?
And it's this website-driven journalism. It's really feel-good journalism. I'm just gonna be doing some freelancing for them.
Interesting.
Yeah, some fun stories, some things when I have time. I love to write, and I want to get back to things that I want to write about. I mean, I covered court full time for the last 6 months, but I've done a lot of court. It's interesting. It's very interesting, and I'm very intrigued by what happens in the judicial system. I can't talk, and it intrigues me, and watching the whole process play out and all the different characters and all the actors from the judge, the bailiffs, but it can be very strenuous and it can be very
taxing
and stressful. I covered some murder trials. You're in there when defendants aren't real happy about being written about, and people, it can be a little bit dicey. Not that it was bad. I enjoyed it. And not that one thing pushed me out of the Kenosha News, because there's some good people there. Just the profession itself scares me in 2022. I mean,
just because of the way things
the
are
reductions,
moving
online, they're just doing reductions left and right all across the nation. So I decided a while ago, I'm like, either I stay and hope for the best, but eventually it's going to happen that they're going to do layoffs, or I get proactive and I go find something that fits my skill set. So I started looking, and the AHA thing came up, and it happened really fast. I had 4 interviews in 3 weeks.
Wow.
And went zip, zip, zip to an offer. And I had my first official full day was today.
Yeah.
Friday I was in for a little bit to meet the boss and kind of get my feet under me. It's going to be a little bit of a training, a little bit of a learning curve.
I can imagine. Yeah, it's probably quite different.
But it's different, but it's like the same skill set. Now, instead of being in the media, I talked to another communications director today from Madison. She reached out just to say, hey, I'm here if you need help. Very friendly, very nice. Now I'll be pitching stories to the media. I'll be calling up TV stations or emailing them, hey, we got this story in Kenosha County or Milwaukee County or something, and say, this is something you should be covering. I'm going to send you some information. Let me get you a quote from a doctor or whatever. That's all part of my new job. So it'll be different. It'll be the same, but a lot different. And be working some big gala events. The Heart Ball coming up. Go grab myself a tuxedo. And
where's that? What is that?
That'll be in Milwaukee. It's a huge fundraiser for the AHA. So a lot, and I'm just learning about it. But I'll be writing scripts for things like that. I'll be putting together statements from execs, a lot of. It won't be as I won't be as much in front and center. Like when you're in a newspaper, your name's in the paper quite a bit, and people recognize you.
I'm curious about that too. Did you, in your time with writing articles and having your name right there, and covering maybe stuff that isn't always like the most like positive type things, were there ever like issues where people were like had a problem with you specifically?
Oh, for sure.
What are like some...
I mean, the most recent one was a guy who I'd written about. This wasn't too long ago. He'd gotten himself in a lot of drug trouble, in Kenosha. He had some heavy duty drug problems. And I got an email from him about 3:00 in the morning to my work email. He wrote it about 2:45 a.m. or whatever. And he wasn't rude or he wasn't threatening, but he was like, I don't understand why you're just writing about the bad stuff. I do good things too. And And he was telling me this whole big sob story. 2 weeks later, he got arrested again. So
it's tough.
I mean, we've had not so much in Kenosha, but when I worked in Lake Geneva, smaller newspaper, not a security door, people would come flying in off the street, mad that their name was in the paper for a DUI or whatever. There's been some instances, some things in courtrooms where defendants see you and they start, I've never felt threatened. Never. But there's been some incidents where people aren't happy. You're writing about some bad stuff. And
they're probably not necessarily mad at you. They're just probably mad at the situation and the fact that you have to cover
in the paper.
it.
I always try to tell people, I'm just doing my job, and I know you don't like it, but it's my job. It's what they pay me for.
Yeah, that's tough. And I know too, you mentioned with like the way just kind of print is going in general with like news coverage and things like that. I was reading something or watching something fairly recent. It was maybe like 6 months ago or something like that, within the last 6 months, about how a lot of like news outlets, smaller news outlets, they've been getting bought up in the last few years by bigger places. They kind of run them dry and then pull the plug on them.
Yeah, there's Alden Group is one that bought the Tribune in Chicago, and within a couple weeks they had laid everybody off.
Yeah.
And within the last 6 to 9 months, they were trying to buy the company I was working for. And so everyone was on red alert, because if they come in and buy you, you're done. And my former company was able to fight them off for now. But yeah, once they gobble you up.
Well, and what is the point of it? Is it because the angle that this person was, I can't remember if it was a video or if it was in writing, but angle that they were coming at it with was that basically like these bigger companies are doing all that. That's kind of the reason that we have such terrible news and we have such bad, like we're only left with the biggest, CNN, Fox News, whatever it is. And you don't get the local news coverage because they don't have a staff anymore because it's all cut out, or the paper doesn't exist anymore.
They just gobble them up and cut them down and then sell them off. And that's really, when I started at the Kenosha News, we had in our union, because there was a reporters or writers union, a guild, I think there was 34 people in the union. When I left last week, there was 7.
Yeah,
and
Jesus.
that's not including management too. We've had mid-level managers get chipped away. We've lost people along the way. Just
what
in the
does
last
this
couple
company
years,
do? Like, what are they like? What is their justification? Do you know?
they just want to cut costs. They're going to cut costs, and the cost of pretty soon, I think, in the next several years, you're always going to see a physical newspaper, but you're going to see a lot less of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's all online, and the cost. They're just going to cut the costs. They're going to get rid of printing press. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel just moved they just laid off all their printing press people, shut down their press. They're moving all their operations to Indiana. Kenosha News is printed in Indiana, and it's shipped up here every day in a semi. And that's
Wow.
they did that a few years ago, and they got rid of the printing press, laid off all those people. They just try to cut away, and keep enough there to keep the pulse going. But you look at the Kenosha News and our staff. I mean, we are so small, you can't cover everything.
Yeah.
We have a one man, or not we anymore. They have a 1-man sports team. One guy covering Kenosha,
All of Kenosha's
two
sports.
colleges, and 8 high schools in Kenosha County. And there's one guy, Mike Johnson. And when I started there, I was in sports. We had 7 people in the sports department. Every Friday night, we had 5 football games that we covered. So 5 out of the 7 teams, there's one team that didn't have football. So 5 out of the 7 were covered by us live and in the next day's paper.
Yeah.
Now the deadlines are 3:00 in the afternoon. He has one person, and nothing is in the paper the next day. It's 2 days later.
Jesus.
And it's
yeah.
all online. It's put online, but he has no staff.
Yeah.
So I've seen it coming for a while. I was a victim of it a couple of years ago. I
Mhm.
came back, and then I took the opportunity to get out while the getting was good.
Yeah.
So it's just a proactive move on my part, and I hope for the best for my former colleagues, but it's not going to get any better.
Yeah. What do you think? If you had to comment on the way. What this might do, the effect it might have on journalism, moving forward. The fact, not other than the fact it's all going to be online. Do you think that's better or worse, whatever?
Yeah, you're going to have a lot. I mean, they're going to struggle. They're just going to struggle just to get young people to do it because no one's going to college for print journalism anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I came out of college in '94, it was a pretty good gig. It wasn't never paid well. Journalism never paid well, but it was a steady gig and it was fun. And now there's no young people out there doing it. They have a young guy, really talented young reporter who's going to be full time when he graduates this next month from Madison, and he's got a lot of digital background, and that's how they're teaching journalism now.
Mm.
So I was talking about a guy. I was talking about this with a friend of mine at the gym, and he's about my age, a little bit younger, and he's like, it makes me sad to see what journalism's going through because we need journalism.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand that, especially the younger generation. The fourth estate is what they call it, is the watchdog. And if you don't have journalists that are checking what the city government's doing, what the village is doing, what the school board's doing, that's our money. That's our tax dollars.
Yeah.
And that's what journalists do. They hey, why is the budget this? Hey, why are you spending this? That's what journalists do. You make sure that those elected officials are doing their jobs. But if there's no journalists to keep an eye on them,
well, especially when you have these big companies come in and suck the life out of these small newspapers that are meant to do that on a smaller scale for more immediate, if you live in Twin Lakes, if you live in Kenosha, wherever it is. When you get rid of those, then those village board members and those people, they don't get pressed about anything. And
they do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And it's our tax dollars. It's everyone's tax dollars at work. So, I mean, journalism is a very important part to play in society, and it's scary. It's a little bit unnerving to see where it's gone.
Do you think there's a way that these smaller, because obviously Kenosha News is available online and things like that. Do you think that there's a way to bring back maybe smaller on the ground journalism, but in a way that's impactful, online and through maybe media stuff like that?
Yeah, it's got such a bad overhead. It's so hard to make a living at. It's hard to. Newspapers and media as a whole really messed up when the internet was born, and I remember it very vividly because I'm old. And they started giving away the news for free because everyone wanted to be on the internet. This whole new thing, this internet thing, was brand new, and I remember when it came out. I remember the internet was born.
Yeah.
And so all the media outlets were like, let's give it away. But then all of a sudden, why are we giving it away? So now they're trying to charge for it. And everyone's like, I'm not going to pay for it.
Yeah,
why am I paying for it? Why would I pay for it when I can get it free from any other outlet? But all those outlets aren't necessarily trained journalists that are giving you the news.
Yeah.
They're, untrained. The best example I can give you is when Kyle Rittenhouse's verdict came out. this last November.
Yeah.
His verdict came out, and I went down to cover the verdict. So I was down on the ground in front of the courthouse. I must have seen 200 people with media jackets. Hardly any of them are media.
Yeah.
They're not real media, you know? So, but that's what's people are like, why would I pay the Kenosha News where they have trained journalists when I can get it for free? It might not be accurate. It might be a
little bit of a skewed perception.
It might be slanted. It's okay, but it's free.
Yeah.
So we never should have given it away. And now I tell people that get mad, like I got into a Twitter fight with a guy about the Journal Sentinel. I don't know why. And he was like, he was jamming on one of the beat writers for the Packers. And I follow him on Twitter, and the guy does a great job. And the guy's like, well, I click on your link and I can't get to this story and I'm not paying. And I replied, I said, it's $1.
Yeah.
To support local journalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Tom Silverstein is really good. So pay
Yeah.
$1. It's not hard, you know.
Yeah.
But no one wants. I said to the guy, I said, so when a plumber comes to your house, fix a pipe, do you pay him, or no? Well, yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. I think with a lot of media, and it's not even like, because I know in the field of influencers, people doing podcasting, right? It's a big thing because you're giving away basically all of your content for free, and then you have to make your money elsewhere.
Right.
I wonder if there isn't a way that media outlet, like news outlets, in trying to adapt, could figure out or adopt some sort of model where they could still give the news for free in a sense, but make their money some other
without
way.
a paywall. And I know our digital advertising has been pretty strong, so it's a challenge.
Oh, with AdSense and stuff like that.
They had salespeople and newspapers really have their work cut out for them. But I know that the folks there at the news have done a really good job of packaging digital ads and stuff. Yeah, that's the only way you can do it, because subscriptions aren't. The print publication's not where it's at. That just costs money. I think you're going to see very soon a lot more newspapers going to 6 days a week, like an actual physical newspaper. And I've said this before. When my parents, they're 71. So when their generation passes on, I think the next generation, my generation, and you guys even and below and younger, I think the physical newspaper might be so long. Yeah. My dad will still sit on a Sunday morning with his coffee and read every page of the Journal Sentinel. That's what he does. He does not want to read it flipping a screen on a computer.
Yeah.
I am half and half. I get a lot of my news on my smartphone, but I love picking up a physical newspaper. I miss the days of going to lunch at the restaurant with my newspaper and reading the paper and eating my lunch. Yeah. I spoke to, you guys remember Coach Franz, Mr. Franz.
Oh, yeah.
I spoke to his classes not too long ago at Central High School. He teaches over there now. He's doing a media unit. So I got a bunch of 16, 17-year-old kids. And I always ask him, I said, okay, show of hands, how many of you guys and girls read a physical newspaper, not on your phone? Physical newspaper.
0, right?
0 in one class and 1 in another. I spoke to 2 classes that day. So it was no kids in the first one, 1 kid in the second one.
Is that one kid held back 10 years or something?
Right.
What?
Everyone's looking at him?
I don't know anybody.
And then I said, okay, so they're 16, 17, so you're figuring their parents are probably late 30s, early 40s. So he's still young parents. I said, okay, how many of your parents read a physical newspaper? Pick up the paper, read it. 1 to 2. Again, damn, nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody reads the physical newspaper. So.
Yeah, the only person I know that does is McKenna's dad. He always shows me, he'll just show me some. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's about it. But yeah, I do think there's a lot less of that going on, and I mean I think it's scary. I think it's a good thing that people can get into journalism easier, but it's not when there's a lack of, there's no way for us to tell credibility,
right?
And then when you lose the credibility, then it's just okay, what do I want to believe game, and I'm just going to look for the articles that say that. I'm going to look for the things that say what I want.
If you get it on Facebook or Twitter and you don't
yeah, even
check.
if you do check it sometimes, you try to check, it'll be bad, but it's crazy. And I mean, I think it's cool that you've been you're a trained journalist and you did it for over 20 years, over 25 years. It's insane. So I mean, I applaud you for that, and I'm sure whether or not Kenosha County wants to thank you or not, they owe you. They owe you that. So thank you for reporting on everything. It's kind of pivoting. When I asked you to be back on the show, I had people reaching out to me, asking me what was going on with your journey. Now we're talking here how you've been writing a lot for 26 years. What's going on with this book? We teased a book
I know you did.
on the first time you were here. I think I asked you about it the second time. What's going on with this book?
I know it's kind of dead in the water, Darren. I might need a little help.
The people want to know what's holding you up.
I don't know.
For people that don't know, maybe they're just now, because it's been a while since you've been on. You were writing a book. You were gonna start, or you had started writing a book.
Yeah.
What was the book about?
It was gonna be about my weight loss journey, and I guess just a journey through life and trying to be inspirational to people. And I don't know what stopped me. I guess I could still write it, but yeah, I'm kind of snickering over there. I probably deserve a snicker, but no, because I mean, as people might remember, I mean, I've lost quite a bit of weight, and over the last couple of years, I was a 400 and some pounds, and
well, even the last time you were on, you had a few pounds left to go, and you were getting ready for your surgery, which I think ended up getting postponed, but then you got it.
Yeah, my skin removal surgery happened on January 11th of 2020.
How was that?
It wasn't bad. The recovery was terrible.
I can imagine.
But it was more from the hernia that I had.
Oh, really?
The hernia pain was, I'm telling you, the worst pain I've ever felt in my life.
How did you get a hernia? Was it from?
I had a hernia just from being so big for so long, and it never showed itself until I started losing weight.
Hernias scare me so much. How do you get a hernia? Is it just pressure, right?
It's just like the intestine is all twisted, and
How does it get twisted?
I don't know.
That's what people. I get so scared. I get a random pain, and I'm just like, please, God, like I get scared that I have shit, and
I don't want to like give your viewers anything more than what they want. But I talked to my surgeon in the follow up after a month after my surgery. I met with my surgeon, and the guy who actually cut me open, and funny old guy, and funny sense of humor, and he told me that. When he got into the surgery, his assistant looked at him and said, I think we need to get another doctor down here to take care of that hernia. My surgeon said it was the worst hernia he's seen in about 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So the funny thing is I got out of surgery, I went to my parents' house, and the next day I was moving around. I was feeling very little pain. My mom's like,
it was weird.
It was the nerve blocker.
Oh.
So once the nerve blocker wore off,
then you felt
good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to talk with God.
Okay.
I'm like, if you want to take me now, it's okay.
Yeah,
I've had a good run. You can take me now. I couldn't get into I was sleeping in my parents' bed because it was on the first floor of the house. They were sleeping upstairs. So I couldn't walk stairs. I tried for about 10 minutes to get back into bed. I couldn't. I tried different ways. I tried legs up. I tried rolling back. I couldn't do it. It felt like the best way I can equate the pain was any scene you want from The Walking Dead. Just pick a scene when the zombies are tearing flesh off of people's bodies.
Jesus.
It was awful. And so the recovery took a little bit longer than I wanted to, but at the end of the day, it wasn't terrible after I got through that.
Yeah.
It was a 5-hour surgery though.
Wow.
They did a lot of things. They fixed my tailbone, was all goofed up, and took the skin off my middle, and so.
That's crazy. Well, because we were talking last time you were on the show, right? And you were mentioning how, it's something you don't necessarily like 100% have to do, but it was like in your mind you had to do it to finish
the journey.
This journey.
Yeah.
Because you lost how much weight?
About 200 pounds ish.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Again.
Thank you.
And then how much skin was like weight
about
and skin?
8 pounds, I think it was.
And that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was they took really good care of me, but it was a long surgery. It was weird. It's the first surgery I ever had. You've had surgeries before, right? You blew out your
Just
knee.
one, my knee, yeah.
But I'll tell you, no one could prepare you for that first time, because I legitimately remember the operating room was really close to where they had me, so they were prepping me and stuff. They had me all hooked up with IVs and the gown and all that jazz. And so the nurse is like, "Okay, it's time to go." And so she's like, "The operating room is right around the corner, so we're not even gonna wheel you out. You're just gonna walk." So she got my thing, and so we walk, and I walk in the operating room, and she introduces me to all the people. Like, I'm never gonna remember them anyway. And I remember, she goes, "Okay, Dan, have lay down on the table, and we're gonna get the warming blanket, And the Jay Giles band was on the radio. They were playing music. It was Centerfold by Jay Giles band. That's the last thing I remember until I remember, okay, it's time to wake up. And it was 5 hours later.
Wow.
And it was so weird.
Yeah.
Like the nurse is like, "Okay, here's some saltines and some ice chips, And I'm like, she's like, "You're good. The surgery's done. Your sister's coming to get you." Cause my sister was a nurse at the hospital. She's going to take me to my mom and my dad to get me home. And
where was your mind at when you woke up?
5 hours. If you don't drink out, and they didn't put like a mask over my face. All of a sudden, they put the warming blanket on. Next thing I know, I'm waking up.
You just kind of blinked.
Yeah, I just had the happy juice in my arm, and that was it.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
You go this like weight loss journey that you went on was what, like 2 years?
Yeah, it's just past 3. January
past 3.
9th of 19 is when I started.
Wow. And so you lost all this weight, and you finally now you got to get rid of the excess skin that you were trying to get rid of. What like when you first started, like when that first workout, or when you first were able to like start kind of moving around again after the recovery, did you take a moment to be like, wow, or maybe like look back on like that 2019 version of yourself and be like, this is insane. This is crazy.
I still I still have that picture on my phone it's been well publicized, that photo, and so I still show people that. In fact, my new boss at the AHA, we were talking about it at lunch the other day, because I obviously going into work for the American Heart Association, they're very much pushing healthy lifestyles, and that's what the company's all about. So I talked about that journey during my interview process. She said, tell me about it, because it was pretty crazy,
Substantial.
Yeah. And so I've taken some time, and it hasn't been easy since. There's been some ups and downs, and you still go through the body dysmorphia, they call it, which is really real. That's the phobia of like when you look in the mirror and like you see yourself as being heavy again when you're really not. I mean, I'm wearing a large pullover that's big on me, and I still sometimes look at myself and I go, it's still there. Yeah. It's still a struggle. And I'm probably still not at the weight that I want to be, but I haven't stood on a scale in a while. I'm just working out when I can. I'm not working out as much as I can right now. I've got a lot going on with softball and late nights and this and that. So that still exists, though. It's still hard. Yeah. And it's still hard to like be disciplined. I give myself a chance to have a treat once in a while, but I still try to. It's a struggle. People that haven't had to travel that probably don't understand it. They're like, I'll have people that say, you look good. You look good. I'm like, they're like, oh, you look good. And I'm like, well, I guess, I mean, I always want to get better, but there's definitely a mental aspect to it.
Oh, of course. Well, that's the thing too. I think a lot of people, and it goes for men and women too. And especially it's interesting you bring up the body dysmorphia thing, where a lot of people at my age group, especially like with social media and things like that, if you're into sports or even if you're not really into like athletic stuff, there's so much comparison through social media where you create, and I don't even know, to be honest with you, because I definitely have struggled with it before as well. I don't know if mine like stems from social media usage. I think it's just like negative self-talk.
Oh yeah.
But it's something that a lot of people, or if people don't have it, it's really hard to like put into words and explain. Like I look in the mirror and I see something, and like you might be like, see something else, like, no, this is what it actually is, and you're probably right. But even if I can say that, I can't get out of that in this moment. I'm right here, tunnel vision, like, no, I look this bad right now.
Oh yeah. I had someone tell me during the middle of the journey that they said, you are the worst at taking a compliment. Because I would always say, as the weight was coming off, I'd have a lot of people like, man, you look great, and I'd be like, thank you, but and
trying to get to here.
Right. And he's one of my former coworkers is like, stop with the but part, get that out, just say thank you. Yeah. But I was always I'm so critical of myself.
Are you able, because this is something that I struggle with, and I've been just talking to my brother about this. I'm trying to do a better job of not being and you can tell me if it was like this during your journey or not, trying to realize that the person that I'm trying to be and the happiness that I see in that person is all in me, and that like for me to become that person, like I have to be where I am right now and to kind of just like take this moment in. Because I think so many people, and I know myself especially, like it's always like I'll be happy when I get this. Right. It's always in the future. Like I'm never happy. Right. But some version of me that I make up 3 weeks from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, that person has the things figured out. That person is happy, whatever. That time comes, and I'm like, well, when this thing happened, when I have this many followers, or this, I've lost this much weight, whatever it is. Did you struggle with that on the journey?
I really had, and I think I'm getting better. I have so much to be blessed with. What am I talking about? That's a good thing I'm a writer. I have so many blessings in my life. Yeah. This journey to health and to a healthier lifestyle, amazing, because I was not long for this world at that health. I was not healthy at all. I have an amazing girlfriend who came into my life in the last year and changed a lot of things for me and showed me more care and love than anybody that I've ever known. And we are in a really good place and going on a year, so she puts up with me. God love her. That's awesome. It's amazing. And she's really, Katie's her name, and she's really amazing.
Shout out to Katie.
And I have this new career that I'm so excited about because it fits exactly what I want to do now. And I think when I get my feet under me in this new job, I'm going to be able to help so many people. I'm going to be hopefully going into schools and talking to kids about Heart Month and doing press releases and getting people's stories out there and survivors and getting them connected with the media and getting I think there's a really good opportunity to do some really good work. And it's exciting to have a stable job where I'm not looking over my shoulder, worried about what's going to happen. I have so many things, but I had a nurse that I think I probably mentioned on your show before who was with me the whole time. Amanda's her name.
Yeah, yes.
And she would tell me the same thing you just talked about. You got to live in the moment. If you lose 5 pounds, be excited about that. Don't worry about what's going to happen. And I still struggle with that, but I think I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
Life is too short. I mean, you don't know when you're going to be here. You don't know how long you're going to be here. Only God knows that.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to like take all these blessings that I have and just be thankful for them.
Yeah.
I get to like, I do things now physically. I was in the gym this morning at 5 a.m. boxing away. And even though I ache a little bit because I'm 50 years old and things don't recover quite as bad, I'm still doing it. I've got a bulky knee. I kind of messed up my knee a little bit, so I'm kicking with my left foot instead of my right foot. But I'm able to do it, and I get out there and I box.
You enjoy it.
And I enjoy it. And
that's the thing.
It feels good, and I'm not counting calories.
Yeah.
I'm not worrying about how many calories I'm burning. I just go and work out, and it clears my brain. And I go for like 4 days a week now. I was going 6. I was really obsessed. But now with softball, we've had late practices, and Katie's an hour away, and we're trying to make traveling back and forth work and just some other new job and all that. But I still try to get there like 4 days a week, and I feel good when I'm there, and I love it, and it's challenging. So you have to live for now because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Yeah, I think like, and what I've been trying to take from that is recognizing those things that I enjoy doing. That like think about like the person that I see in 8 months or whatever that is that happy version of me. Like, what are they doing? Oh, you mean that they're working out every day? Oh, they're doing these things with their music or whatever. And I've been trying to like just remind myself like, dude, you're doing those things.
Right.
Like it takes time. Like whatever it is, you know, and trying to like recognize like been hooping a lot more recently, and just like I get done playing and I'm like, dude, I love playing. And like literally saying that out loud might sound really stupid or corny to people, but like I've just been like forcing myself to like say that and just like
play.
And just saying it too, like recognizing like, dude, like that was awesome. Like I like doing this. Yeah. I don't have to be like, oh, 8 months from now when I hoop this many times in a week, then I'll be happy. Like, no, dude, you love doing this thing.
Play for the just play for the joy of it.
Yeah, and it's the process of it, and trying to just like submit to that is really difficult. I think 'cause I'm an overthinker.
Yeah.
And
I'm a classic overthinker, and I've been trying to like, knowing that this could be one of my last softball seasons, if not the last softball season, trying to just enjoy the moment with the kids, trying not to be so uptight. Trying not to worry about all the little piddly things. The girls mentioned tonight they wanted to do it. They were going to do a team dinner. They didn't ask me if they could go early. I'm like, well, if you guys are doing a team dinner, let's get out of here, you know. And I just let them go, and they're like, they were thankful for that. I'm like, it's fine. Yeah. Go be a team. Go be kids. Yeah. Another 15 minutes of taking grounders, is that going to make the biggest difference in the world? Probably not. Yeah. Let's just enjoy it for what it is. We get to be out here. We're playing softball. Let's just have fun with it, you know. And do I want to win? Of course. When you lace them up, I'm competitive as hell. You know, I want to win. But at the end of the day, my kids are going to play sports and they're going to go on with their lives, and some are going to go play college. Most aren't. Yeah. So I want to give them a good experience and just enjoy it for what it is. Yeah. Enjoy life for what it is.
For people that maybe are struggling with either potential, if it's a weight loss journey, maybe they're trying to weight gain, they're struggling with the things we're talking about with body dysmorphia. They look in the mirror and they don't see what they want to see, even if they feel like they're putting in whatever amount of work, and they have negative self-talk. They're really hard on themselves. What are the things, because you mentioned that you deal with that yourself, what are things that you use or can utilize to combat that?
It's really hard. You have to have some support, you know, and Katie's been my rock through that, and she's dealt with some ups and downs mentally with me. But I think surrounding yourself with really good people, if you're in a gym, that's a great place because everyone's in the same fight. Like I go to my gym and we have all walks of life. We have older people, we have heavy people, we have small people, we have women, we have men. Everyone's kind of in a different part of their journey. We have great athletes, we have ham and eggers. Everyone's in a different spot, but they're all like connected and everyone feels each other's pain. I think surrounding yourself with really good people, and that's huge. Like having a sounding board. Like Amanda was such a big part of my journey, and she still is. She just had her own skin removal surgery not too long ago for her weight loss journey, which was huge as well. But having people around, putting people around you that can just support you. And sometimes the hard truth, like, no, you're fine. Stop, you know, and, you know, you don't look like that. You know, you're not going to, one piece of pizza is not going to make you go back to being 400 pounds. Yeah. You know, and it took me a while to understand. I used to love to eat food but then I went to like this eating food just to survive, but not enjoying it. Now I give myself a little treat here once in a while. We had some Creole food the other night that was really good. Probably wasn't the healthiest for you. I had some jambalaya, probably a little too salty, but to hell with it.
Yeah.
You know?
You gotta live.
You gotta
right?
live.
You gotta
know?
enjoy this right now.
I'll do a couple extra burpees, no big deal.
Yeah.
Burpees suck.
No, that's it. That's interesting you bring up, having a good support system.
Yeah, it's
around
huge. You
And
can't do it alone.
Well, and I think it's really cool too. I think it's interesting too, like with your story specifically, and it being so public as you went on with it. Was it? Because obviously, I don't think you didn't like declare like on social media or anything when you first started, like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this."
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Yeah.
And then Amanda found out my background was in writing, and she said, "Hey, you really should publicize this. You can help other people." And it really ended up helping a lot of people. Like I didn't even know, like doing my columns in the paper and what I wrote. I did some blogs for the company that Amanda was working for at the time. I didn't set out to do that. And then I just thought, oh, what the hell? I'm kind of a public person. I'm in the newspaper. I'm in the news media. People know who I am. And if I got a lot of messages. I got a young lady on my team now that's going to the same clinic that I went to. And I was part of that reason. She needs some help. So I didn't set out to do that. But then it kind of just blew up. And I thought, all right, I'm just going to keep putting it out there. And if people don't want to read it, they'll either tell me to stop or they'll stop reading it, whatever.
Yeah.
But people enjoyed it. And I got a lot of comments from strangers, emails, and I did some other speaking engagements things. So if it helps some people.
Do you think that helped you too?
I think it did.
Because when you're in the gym, maybe those times where the workout's really hard, or when you have those meals that you're like, man, I want to just go eat a pizza right now, and you're
give me
sitting
a pizza
there,
and a six pack and call it a day.
Yeah, and you can think back and you can realize you have all these people rooting for you, all these people that know about it. I think that's really cool because it's interesting. A lot of people, I think that kind of ties into having people around, good people around you, making it like that. And I know a lot of people are kind of split on whether or not, like in life, to tell people your goals and things like that. Some people say like, don't tell anybody, don't waste your energy giving it to them. Just do it and that'll come. And then other people, and like in this case, where like telling people and almost making it probably gave you almost more gas on the fire to keep going.
Yeah, and I think everyone has to find their own way. For me, writing's cathartic. During the journey, but pretty early in the journey, my uncle died, and he had gotten sick, and he passed away. And
sorry for your loss.
Thank you. And I was really close to him, and I'm really close to his kids. His son is really close to my age. And so it was tough on our family. We knew Uncle Jim was going to die. He got really bad cancer, and we knew it was going to happen. But I remember I was in the middle of my journey, and I was really upset when he died. And the old me would have gone straight to the bar and started drinking and having pizza and just drowning myself. But I sat down because I was in the middle of this weight loss journey. I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and I sent this blog into Amanda, and she posted it on their company's website. And she's like, I said, that was my cathartic moment. That was my savior at the moment, just to get
Your
it out.
ability to cope
just to
with
get it out. And some people people go to the gym and they want to lift weights and stuff. And I do that too now a little bit. And there's days when I go to the gym and I just want to I tell the trainer, I said, turn on the angry music and let's get after it. Let's throw some shiz around here,
Yeah.
So I think everyone has to find what works for them. Some people don't want to be public with it, but I found that having all that support, and the support was amazing from every walk of life, people I had coached with and worked with and family. And that helped me, and it helped them, and it helped others and helped strangers.
Yeah.
Great. I think it kind of, you can't do this journey alone. I tried for so long to lose weight on my own, and I was doing it completely wrong. And I just submitted myself to Amanda and Elizabeth, who was the dietitian I worked with. I just basically threw myself on the floor and said, fix me.
Yeah.
Now, whatever you need me to do, I'm not going to bitch about it one little bit. And I listened to them to the letter. If they said to eat 4 stalks of broccoli, I had 4 stalks of broccoli. They said 8 almonds for a day, I had 8 almonds for a day. Not 9, not 7, I had 8.
Yeah.
And I
that
told
discipline probably helps.
Yeah, and I told this young lady in my program, I said the best advice I'll give you is just do what they tell you to do, and it'll work.
Yeah.
If you're disciplined. And it's hard.
Yeah.
Losing weight's hard.
Of course.
It's really hard. Yeah.
If it wasn't, more people would do it.
Right.
You
have to knock off 3,500 calories to lose a pound.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's hard to do. That's hard to
insane.
do.
And the thing too, when you mentioned, obviously this is a hard thing, and talking, more people would do it if it wasn't so difficult. I think that is true when it comes to like just about anything that you really, really want in life.
Oh, yeah.
There's gonna be like hurdles. There's gonna be things that make it difficult. And I'm not specifically like a religious person, but in like a spiritual sense almost, it's like the universe isn't just gonna give you whatever, like the big trophy that you want,
Right.
you know, like if it was just handing those out, everybody would already have them,
Right.
you know. If you really want that, there are going to be things that
Look
are going
at
to
you.
drive you crazy.
Look at the work you've done on this.
Yeah,
You've toiled
yeah.
away and you're still doing it, and it's not easy.
No,
you know,
it's not. Yeah.
It's not easy to do it. It is. Life's kind of a biatch sometimes.
Yeah,
you know?
and I think it's like gatekeeping for the right reasons almost. And it's like it wants to make sure, the universe wants to make sure whatever it is that you want, like, do you really want this?
Right.
How bad? Because I only want to give it to people that really
Right.
really deserve it and want it. And so it's like the trials and tribulations you go through can be a
Right.
little ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think you got to write this book.
I'm gonna go back to the college, try and give it a shot.
I mean,
How's
think
that
about this. Think about even the first time you were on, we were talking about, you know, you're gonna
You
had,
totally caught me, man.
you had
totally
s-
caught me.
you had-
Side swipe me, Darren.
yeah. Well, you had a ways to go still the first time
yeah.
you were on it. You lost that weight. Then the second time you were on it, you had just a couple pounds, and then the surgery to go. And both times we mentioned the book and skydiving.
Yep.
Now you've gotten the surgery, you've gotten the
Did
skydiving,
the skydiving.
and so we need the book.
You need the
I
book.
think we
All
need the
right.
book.
All right. Fair enough.
I think people could. I mean, just
I think it could be good.
it would be so good for
Yeah.
so many people. I'm
Yeah.
sure you said writing's cathartic.
It
I'm sure
is.
it would be a beautiful thing.
And
for you.
now that I'm not full time writing anymore, I might have some more time where I can get down, because it really, in all seriousness, it was hard to write all day and then come back and write some more.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
I
it's
can
like being
imagine.
a barber and then you go to someone's house, hey, could you cut my hair?
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
like, fuck
you know,
bro.
right,
Come on,
right.
you know?
I just cut hair all day.
Yeah.
I've had my hands in strangers' heads for all 8 hours. Leave me
Yeah.
alone. But no, maybe I'll get back at it.
Yeah.
The
That would be-
skydiving thing, though.
How was that?
Oh, that was an experience. I mean,
Are-
I could pull up some. I should have sent you the video. You could maybe can connect it to your to
Oh
the,
yeah,
to the
we
feed.
could. Yeah, we could.
I didn't do that. I should have done that. But Katie arranged that for right around my birthday. So she took care of all the particulars, because I talked about it for a while, but pulling the trigger, I was
Yeah.
kind of scared.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm kind of on the side of like, you should tell people the things you want to do, because even like, look with this conversation we're having with the book, where it's like, I do it where I'll tell people I want to do this thing, I want to do this thing, I want to do this thing, and what I find, maybe it's because I'm slightly a narcissist, when I tell people shit and they come back with me, hey, you said you were gonna do that
Right.
thing. When's that thing coming out? When's that thing? I'm like, shit, I have to do that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I said I was gonna do that thing.
Now you got to do it.
And she held you account. She put you on the skydiving shit.
It was crazy. We went up. We went into it's a sturt event right off the freeway there. So we go through, and a buddy of mine from down in Illinois, one of the photographer for the wrestling company, actually joined me,
Okay.
Mike. And so we get our jumper guy, and my guy was this little dude, and we're talking to him, and Mike had a different guy, and my guy had done like 5,600 jumps. God, it was crazy.
That's insane.
So we took about a 2-minute class. That's all it was. Like,
Really?
this is when I tell you to put your feet out, that's when we're gonna land. I didn't tell you what to do in case he had a medical emergency when we're up there, or what cords to pull or anything. Nothing. So
Yeah.
so we wait around. We get on this plane, and my guy's sitting behind me, and we're connected already. We're hooked up. You know, he's got us all harnessed in, and then this whole big group of professional jumpers gets on the plane, like 20 of them that were doing some kind of training, but they've jumped forever and ever. And then there's me and Mike, scared to death.
Yeah.
And we're in this rickety old plane that you don't know it's going to make it to 14,000 feet. We were going to 14,500 feet.
God damn.
And I remember at one point I looked at Mike, or his jumper. I said, where are we at? Like, what's the altitude? And he goes, 10,000 feet. I'm like, oh my God, we got 4,000 more feet to go. And my jumper, my guy Hector, puts his hands on my shoulders, and he's like, "You'll be okay. You'll be all right." I'm like, "Dude, I'm scared. I am legit scared."
How does it work? Are you hooked up like back to back?
No,
Or he's behind you.
yeah,
He's
he's
kinda-
behind me. Yeah,
So you guys having to like sit like that the
Yeah.
whole way up?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
yeah.
That's
We
kinda
got
weird.
real close and personal.
Yeah.
And so
I guess I'd want to be. I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah. But he's can control your life.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you kind of.
yeah, so I had a videographer, because Katie arranged to have a video and photos. So they
Okay.
send you up with a video. I should have given you that video. It's in my phone, but videographer is going to jump with us, and so all these professionals they're flipping out. They're going upside down. They're like, "Ee!" And I'm like, I'm ready to throw up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna puke because I could die. I'm like, if this goes wrong, I'm gonna splat in front of Katie. My mom and dad are here.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna go splat, and it's gonna be really bad. So then my videographer scoots ahead of me, and all the other jumpers are out, and he kind of gives me the finger wave, like, okay, it's time. So you have to scoot on your butt because you can't stand up. So we're scoot. And then we get to the edge of the plane. And we were taught or told, okay, when you get to the edge of the plane, you have to sit on the edge of the plane, tuck your feet under the plane, and then hold on, cross your arms with the harness. And then
you just like fall out.
And then my guy's he's just gonna shove us out. So, and you're gonna free fall for a minute. So I'm got my feet tucked under, I'm ready to go, and all of a sudden I'm upside down at 14,500 feet for like 2 seconds upside down, and then we correct, and now we're free falling. And I thought the free fall was gonna be the worst part. It was so amazingly cool.
Really?
It was amazing. And my videographer's out in front of me, and he's giving me the thumbs up, and he's shooting videos, and Hector's taking pictures on his wrist and all this craziness. And I'm screaming my stupid head off.
I'm sure, yeah.
Probably swearing a little bit too.
Yeah.
And the free fall was so cold. I remember it being freezing cold. I lost my gum. So if you watch the video,
you were chewing gum?
I don't know why.
I was gonna say, why would you chew?
I don't know why I was chewing gum.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a garbage can, but there was no stewardesses on this plane, so I had nowhere to spit the gum.
Yeah.
And so we get through the free fall, and then the chute opens, and now you just relax.
Oh God.
Now you're good. Like
part
of me was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. But the other part of me was like, and I just had this conversation with Katie the other day. Once you jump, you have nothing else to do but enjoy it, because there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Either you're going to live or you're going to die.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's your two options right there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And if it's your time to go and something bad's going to happen with the chute, then something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you might as well enjoy it.
Yeah. You're going to put yourself through that bad thing twice by thinking about it once? No.
Yeah. You know, so once the chute opened up, and I remember it being really quiet, and then we were twisting and turning. He's like, oh, there's Lake Michigan over there. Oh, you can see the Chicago skyline over there. And we're doing some fun. And then the landing part came, which also scared me, because the day before, someone at that same place, it was all over social media, and one of my idiot friends tagged me on it.
Oh,
someone
God.
snapped his leg in half.
Jeez, landing?
Landing, because he stuck his legs out, because really, you stick your legs out, and then your jumper guy's behind you, and he's taking the brunt of it. So you're going in, legs out, you're going to land right on your butt, and you're going to take the cushion that way. The guy who hurt himself the night before tried to stick his legs out. You're coming in hot.
Yeah.
You're not coming in slow. You're coming in freaking crazy. So I remember telling myself, because Hector's like, okay, it's time. Because I could see my family. We were coming in. He's like, okay, legs out. And I held those suckers out until I hit my rear end on the ground. Yeah. And then Hector took the whole brunt of it. I mean, he's professional. And then that was it. And the adrenaline rush was insane. And I remember the running joke in my family is, because right after you get done, they interview you for the video, and they're like, the guy's like, oh, how did it feel? You know, and you're all like,
jacked up.
You're ready to like take on the world. He's like, would you do it again? I'm like, hell yeah, I do it again. And then like 2 hours later, I'm like, I might do it again. Like 2 hours later, maybe I'll do it again. By the next day, I'm like, no way in hell I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I did it once.
They should try to book. They should be like, you want to book your next appointment right now while we're
My buddy Mike tried to go again that day, and they shut it down because of wind. He went and signed back up again.
Oh my God.
And now he's gone like 15 times. He's hooked.
Okay, so
he's hooked.
Damn.
But I'm like, I would go again if family or friends or Katie wanted to go. I'd go, so they weren't alone. I have no need to go again. I checked it off my list.
Yeah.
I've got pictures and a video that were crazy. Loved it. It was exhilarating, but I look at it as you're kind of like, you're avoiding the bad thing, the inevitably bad thing that could happen. The more you go, something bad could happen.
There's a percentage chance that it could. So the more times you do it, the higher chance.
I mean, on that day, everything worked perfectly. My guy landed us perfectly. We landed safe. And then I remember he unhooked us, and he went running to the plane to do another jump. I mean, he's just crazy adrenaline.
Hopefully
junkies.
He's getting paid good.
They bet they make pretty good money.
Yeah.
But it was
crazy.
It was a once in a lifetime deal. It was so cool.
What's like your biggest, if you had to like sum it up in one takeaway, what would be like a biggest takeaway from doing that? Because that was something you want to do for quite a while.
I just think it was such a chance to kind of exercise some demons. Because
How so?
I think, but just by overcoming that fear, I have a pretty good fear of heights. me and heights aren't real big friends.
Mm-hmm.
So just I don't mind roller coasters if I'm strapped in. I don't mind all that. But I think just overcoming that couple minutes up in the plane and realizing that, oh my God, I'm really gonna do this.
Yeah.
And then just enjoying it. But I think overcoming that and like, okay, this was the end of the journey. I talked a good game for 2 years. I'm gonna go skydiving when I lose all this weight. And then I lost all this weight and I'm like, I'm going to go skydiving. But then Katie just like, you're going skydiving. She like, it's booked on August 8th and my birthday was August 10th. So it was like 2 days before my birthday we went. I'm like, well, if I make it to 50 or I don't,
Yeah.
maybe I'm not going to make it to 50.
Crazy.
But I think it was just, I don't know. It was just an amazing experience. One, I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
I have no need to do it again. I think it loses its luster if you do it. I don't know. I mean, if people are adrenaline junkies and they want to do that, I think it's great. I tackle it. My mom was super funny because she's like, she comes running up. It's like, this looks so much fun. We're watching jumpers all day. This is so much fun. And then I got done and she's like, I would never do this. There's no chance in hell I would do this. And I'm like, well, I know it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Not going to lie. It was scary. I'm not going to be more brave than I was.
How do things look though when you got to like when you got to like take a second to like just like look
Amazing.
at everything? I can imagine.
It's just amazing. Just the pure calm that's up there when the parachute's opened. It's so quiet and peaceful, and you're just enjoying it. And you're seeing. It was a beautiful day that day. It was a little windy, so they shut down a lot of jumps didn't happen after ours. We got kind of lucky to get on when we did because I think they shut it down after ours was done because you have to have perfect weather conditions, otherwise it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty neat. I will always remember that. It was definitely a moment.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I'm sure I don't know. I have no idea, but it sounds awesome.
It was pretty cool.
I just don't. I go back and forth with the skydiving thing all the time where I don't know, man.
It is, and
$300 to like best case scenario, I'm still alive, you know?
Yeah,
like,
worst case, you're an indentation in the earth.
Yeah, so it's tough. It's a tough sell for sure. It's crazy, but I'm happy that you did it. I know something you wanted to do.
It was fun. Yeah, it really was.
Super cool. We are over the hour mark now. I was curious, do you have any questions for me, or is there anything we didn't get to that you wanted to get to? Wrestling. Okay, yeah. What's going on with POW? You've been a big...
We got to talk a little wrestling before I go.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't in the match, but I did participate in
You certainly
match.
did. You leveled a slap.
I did. I got a couple chops in there, 2 chops in there. And they broke my guitar. It's funny. I'm so mad we didn't record. So, like, for this, like, last wrestling vlog that I did for people that are curious if you're listening, me and my friends, we went to a POW show here in Twin Lakes. And we vlogged it, made some jokes, and got to see some crazy stuff. Prior to it, like, we were getting dressed up and everything, and I was going to have one of the guys film. But I was like, we did that last time with the whole getting ready thing. We won't do that this time. And we had this big debate. Like, we have, like, a nice ukulele or this, like, shitty Walmart, like, kids guitar and we're like, one of the guys was dressed as like a mariachi band guy. And we're like, which one should we have him bring? Because the ukulele was a little bit smaller. It's going to be a little less annoying to carry, but the kid's guitar was a little bit bigger. And we're like, we'd probably use the ukulele. So, like, I don't know, just in case something were to happen to the guitar, not thinking it was going to be like used. Like, people like came up to me and were like, oh, did they talk to you about the show or whatever? I'm like, dude, that was complete spur of the moment. Eric is just like, can I see that guitar? and my guy looks at me. He's like, can I give it? I'm like, fuck yes, give it to him, bro. And it's just crazy, man.
It is a crazy. It was so funny that I didn't even know that you were there on the show before.
Yeah.
And you guys were all sitting, and I was behind you, and you guys were all sitting with your masks on, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
But the POW guys, and we were talking off camera because you were at Wilmot when you played, and we brought the POW guys in for a fundraiser.
Yeah.
So that's how I got to know them. And I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. It's just something fun to do. But I think it's cool that you got involved and that you got to meet Jimmy and Eric and good people, you know, and you had some fun.
Oh yeah. We had a ton of fun. I've been talking to them. Who knows? We might do something else here in the future.
I think you should get in the ring.
Maybe. We were talking about maybe doing like a little training camp, me and a couple of the guys, and filming that and having Jimmy kick the shit out of us for a couple hours. Might be some good content.
You know, I'm 1-0.
I know. You're 1-0.
I'm retired. I pinned Pee Wee. Jimmy was my tag team partner with Joey Chichi.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, You were rocking with. That's a champ. That's a champion.
I'm never coming out of retirement.
No, yeah, I wouldn't.
No.
I would stay undefeated.
All you can do is go down.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm batting 1,000 right now. If Pee Wee wants to get his ass kicked, I'll take him out.
That's fair.
You know,
we could set that up. We could set that up. Do a big publicity stunt. That'd be fun. Yeah, man, it's crazy what they do, and it was funny. The reason because I was aware of the brand because of that thing that you'd set up when we were in high school, and so like I'd known of it, and I think you had reposted something, prior to the first one I ended up going to, with all the guys, which was that first Twin Lakes one, and I saw it, and I was just like, I've been on this thing where I've just been trying to like do a lot of shit that I've been putting off and like whatever this year, and I've done quite a bit of it, but that was one of the things where it was like I'm not really as close with a lot of the same people I used to be close with, and so I don't have like a lot of guys or friends that I'm really like hanging out with all that often. So I just bought 6 tickets to POW, and I was like, I'm just gonna find fucking 5 other people to come with me to this, and I'm gonna have a blast. And yeah, that's what we did. And then the next time we brought 8 people, and it's awesome. They do a great job.
It's quality entertainment, and the people that work for them are amazing people. I've gotten to be really good friends with a lot of those guys, Jimmy and the whole crew. And yeah, they're for some of them, the younger ones, they're chasing a dream, and they are legit chasing a dream. They want to be on TV.
They got some very talented guys too.
Yeah, and some of them have been on TV.
Yeah,
and now they've come full circle. Now they're teaching the younger guys. It's great entertainment. It's a night out, cheap beer. You can, have a cheap Captain and Coke if that's what you want. I don't know what you guys were drinking.
I have water. I don't drink.
All right, got a boy.
Yeah. Okay. Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite WWE guy right now? WrestleMania just happened.
Yeah, it just happened. I don't follow WWE as much as I think I did watch a little bit last night. Another POW supporter, Chris Schonenberger, was at WrestleMania. He had front row tickets with his son and his daughter. So I saw them on TV so much. It was really cool. But Stone Cold Steve Austin, you can't beat Stone Cold.
Yeah, he's pretty sweet.
He's smashing beers with people last night. So
Randy Orton's pretty iconic. From
Randy
like
Orton is pretty
of,
crazy. Yeah, pretty crazy good. You know.
Yeah, the RKO is just like too legendary.
It is legendary.
The memes and everything from that are just that's kept it alive forever for me. So he's probably up there. I mean, it's funny because I liked one of his like whoever the heel Christian was like his heel for like a year or so, and that was like when me and my siblings got into wrestling. It was like 2011 or 2012. Yeah, and we watched it for a few years, and yeah, it was super cool. It's just it's a different kind of entertainment.
It really is,
and it's not everybody gets it. I don't think.
No, there's not a lot of gray area.
Yeah.
It's black and white. Either you go, yeah, I love it, or you go, what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
The people watching though, the people watching at a POW show or any wrestling show, the people watching is pretty exquisite.
Yeah.
I could sit down and just be entertained by that.
Yeah, that's what one of the guys that was with me, Big Ty. That's what he says every time we go.
I mean, there's some people there that don't understand the difference between reality and fantasy.
Yeah,
they really don't. The line is blurred.
Those are the people. Because I mean, early on, like the history of like professional wrestling, like there was like a big thing. That's what I was talking to Eric about with even Kazile in POW. Like his name is
his real name's Kyle.
Yeah, and so like it's Carney. Carney is like that, and that was like a way they used to speak. So people wouldn't know when they were calling out moves and stuff because there was this big thing where like people wouldn't go see it if it was fake or whatever. And it's crazy to me how much like history there is with wrestling specifically. And I don't know, man. We paid for a couple of the pay-per-views growing up, and like I remember we got a Royal Rumble one year, and like it was my brother got that for his birthday, and it was like the best shit in the world. Like for 4 hours we were just like glued to the TV. Crazy shit. And that's what so I always wanted to like do something. You practice the moves on your siblings and shit. Like, come on, one more time, let me try suplex. Yeah. And then somebody gets hurt, then I get in trouble as the oldest. But there's
a picture of my wall at home. A couple of years ago I met Baron von Raschke, who's a legendary, the Claw.
Okay, I'm trying to picture him in my head.
Big bald guy, and there was a event. The Crusher was in South Milwaukee, man who made Milwaukee famous. Anyway, Baron was signing autographs, so I got him to put the claw on my head.
Oh, really?
I've got a picture of that on my wall.
That's pretty neat.
It's pretty, and he was so funny because he's Baron's 75 years old.
Yeah,
and he goes, "Don't worry, I'm going to take your glasses off," and he takes my glasses off so he doesn't hit him with this, and then he goes.
Yeah,
puts the
it's crazy.
And my buddy took a picture
Huge
of
hands,
it, which is great. Oh yeah. That was his finishing move was the claw. He'd crush your skull.
Well, it's funny. I made a comment. My cousin, he was on the podcast a while back, and he loved WWE too. And we both like made the comparison. I don't know if you've ever watched any like Japanese anime, but like WWE is American anime. Yeah. That's what it is. It is the like because all anime like it comes from Japan. We dub it over here in English. WWE though, that is our anime. Like we created it. It's the same way where it's just like. There's all this. It's all the stuff around the fight that makes the fight exciting, and the characters and the storylines, and it's really interesting, and it's cool to see. Even some of the guys, like John Cena now is huge in acting, and in The Rock, he started in the same way, and I think it's cool. It's super cool, and I think it's what people. I forget what it's called, the term for the kind of acting they're doing or like required to do, but these guys are in character when you're in the WWE, especially if you're in like the main like rotation of guys. You're in character for like 8 years on and off. Yeah. Like when even on Twitter, like you're still in character.
You can't be a bad guy and then be like, helping old ladies across the street.
Yeah. Like people can't see you doing that shit. Right. Like you got to like really sell the heel persona. Yeah. I think people really overlook the level of professionalism and acting that is like involved in it. Oh yeah. Especially not only are you like acting like how normal actors would on a screenplay or on a stage, they're also having to fight each other.
Yeah, it's physical, it's athletic, and I dare anyone to take a chair shot to the back and tell me that doesn't hurt.
Yeah, no, even a chop. A chop if they're doing it right, like that shit's not. Yeah, it's not a game. That's what we saw the guy 2 feet from us get. That's a real guitar. That's what I was trying to. I had people. I posted a clip of it, and somebody was like, bro, like they had you in on the show, like they gave you a fake guitar. I'm like, that's a real guitar. Like it's a kid's guitar, but it's a real. That's not a prop that they like planted. Like we brought that
wood.
Yeah, like that, bro. It took 2 hits to break. Like he was like, oh, it didn't break yet. I'll break it this time. Like Jesus. And so that's what just trying.
And they do it for very little money. They just do it for the love of what they're doing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's so crazy. I think they do a tremendous job. But thank you, Coach, for being on.
Thanks for having me again. I love coming and seeing you guys.
I love having you on, and the people love hearing from you. So we'll have to do it again.
After I write my book.
After you write the book, and we'll do the press run. We'll start the press run here on dtalks. Right. You have any other questions for me before we end up wrapping?
No, I think we're all good, my friend.
I appreciate. Oh, I wanted to let you know too. I actually sampled our last conversation. There's a part of it that I had sampled. I took a quote of yours and I put it in this song of mine that came out recently. It came out like last year sometime. It's a song called "Oh Myself." So everybody check that song out. It's called "Oh Myself." It's got you on it as on one of the beat switches, and it's cool. It's very cool.
Nice.
You had a very inspirational quote that I think was cool.
Well, thank you.
I'll show you when we wrap.
Awesome.
But yeah, I appreciate you. I always appreciate you coming on and giving us gems about motivation. Especially, it's been cool to see your journey, and now you're still fighting things, but you've kind of passed that, and you're at a place now where you're just kind of maintaining and continuing on.
Just doing my thing, living life. A lot of changes this last year. Good changes.
Good stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, really good stuff. I'm blessed.
So. It's awesome, and I'm thankful you were here. I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in live, those watching days after here or on Spotify. Shout out to our patrons. They should be up on the screen right now. Thank you to all you guys for supporting the channel. If you guys are interested in getting access to exclusive behind-the-scenes content, a breakdown of how I mix and master every single one of my songs, as well as exclusive podcasts, and other extra content from our hooping videos and full matches of the wrestling videos when we go. That's all over there on Patreon. And you can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. Go to patreon.com/Darren Rita to check that out. But with all that being said, this has been the 144th episode of the dtalks podcast, and I'll see you guys next week.